Sante's not awarded. As we say here in Harambe, Twende, that means let's go. Ciao, my friends. My name is Stephanie. I'll be your safari driver today as we head into the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Please do stay seated during our journey. Hang on to any valuables you might have brought along with you, including those children. It can get pretty bumpy out there, and I would definitely hate to lose anything or any one of you out of the reserve today. If you look above your heads there, you're going to see an animal spotting guide. We might not see all of those animals out there, but we usually get pretty lucky. And this is a photo safari, so feel free to have those cameras out and at the ready. It's usually best to have those set to an action setting, a sports setting, or a fast shutter speed. That's because those animals can move pretty quick when they want to, and we are going to be moving as well. And we won't be able to stop for each and every animal that we see out there, and even when we do, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be willing to stop for us. Well, it looks like we're getting that go-ahead from the warden, so we can head on in. And we are going to start our journey out here today in the Little Ituri Forest. Many forest animals have camouflage that help them to blend into their surroundings. They're pretty good at staying hidden, but we'll see if we can't find a few of them out here in between these trees. Ooh, and it looks like there is a bit of movement already at the top of the hill on our right-hand side. In between all those bamboo shoots, you can just make out an okapi up there. You can see the striped legs on that okapi, and they look kind of similar to a zebra's stripes, but they're not related to the zebra at all. In fact, they're the only living relative to the giraffe. Both are going to have really long prehensile tongues that are perfect for grabbing those leaves off trees and bushes. And as a species, they're also pretty good at staying hidden. They were actually unknown to the Western world until the year 1901. Up until that point, they were believed to be a myth or a hallucination. Even to this day, we don't really know how many of those okapi are living out in the wild. It looks like we're coming up on a larger watering hole here. Usually a pretty good place to find those animals. They'll stop by these throughout the day, grab a drink, cool themselves off a bit. So we'll see if we can't find a few more visitors around this way. Well, it looks like there may be a bit of movement up on the hill to our left, so we're going to head over in that direction. And like I said, a lot of the animals out here do have camouflage, and a lot of that camouflage generally consists of stripes, kind of like those we saw in the okapi, that allows these animals to blend in with the trees and twigs around them or mimic the shadow pattern of sunlight through the leaves. Ooh, but yes, definitely a large animal up to our left-hand side. On top of the hill there, that is a black rhinoceros. We'll come up this way to get a little better view. There are those horns. And that black rhino up there is going to weigh upwards of 3,000 pounds. And those horns are made out of keratin, the same material as our hair and our fingernails are. And like I said, stripes are really big out here in the forest, and there are a few stripes coming up on our left-hand side. These cinnamon-colored antelope are known as bongos, also called the ghosts of the forest for their very elusive nature, though they're not too terribly shy today. And also tucked back by the bamboo shoots, those lighter antelope are the greater kudu. Well, greater kudu are the tallest species of forest antelope, coming in at around 5 feet in height, whereas the bongos are the largest, densest species. But we're going to make our way out of the Little Ituri Forest now and head on over towards the Safai River, see what we can find this way. Well, as we move into the Safai River, we're going to want to be on the lookout for any ripples we might see in the water. Could mean there's an animal just beneath the surface. The water's looking pretty smooth to our right. There are a couple of eyes and ears poking out of the water. In the far back corner on our right there, looks like there's a hippo down there. If you can't get a good glimpse of that one, they are pretty social animals, so we're going to keep looking, see if we can't find a few more in the area. But they love to hang out in the river like this. They can spend most of their time in this water and actually stay submerged up to 8 minutes without coming up for air. Ah, here they are, a few more on our left-hand side, much easier to see. Again, loving to hang out in this river. It can be hard to tell with them submerged, but when full grown, these guys are going to tip the scales at around 5,500 pounds. Now, these hippos aren't alone because perched on the island to our left are a few pink-backed pelicans as well, getting that name from the pink coloration they get during mating season. And a few more of those hippos a bit further up here. We are among my friend's little baby hippo down there too. We'll see if it can't poke its head up for us. There we are. Now, baby hippo is pretty small compared to the others, but already born at about 50 to 100 pounds already. And as you can see, that baby is already packed on the weight. Those hippos look pretty calm down there, pretty slow moving, but they are one of Africa's most dangerous animals. Very, very territorial. And it seems they're not the only dangerous animals out here on the river, because down below us on the left are quite a few Nile crocodiles. So hopefully this bridge is sturdy enough to hold our weight. And those Nile crocodiles down there can get pretty large, up to 20 feet in length. They'll most average about 16 feet in length. And just like all reptiles, those crocodiles are cold-blooded. So when they get too cool in that water, they'll hop out onto the banks like some of them have done, sunbathe and warm themselves up a bit. Now those crocs eat a diet of mostly fish, but we're going to put some distance between us and them nonetheless, because they have been known to eat anything that crosses their path. So we're going to make sure that isn't one of us, or at least not me. Instead, we're going to move over in the direction of the savannah. Well, savannah's home to many of Africa's most famous animals, so we'll try our hand at spotting a few of them out there today. And a lot of the animals that call the savannah their home will greatly influence its beauty through their eating habits. So giraffes are going to prune down the trees when they eat, elephants will knock over those trees when looking for food, and many hoof-stock animals like wildebeest and antelope essentially mow those grasses down when they graze. And that way they all work together to create a really unique ecosystem, which we'll be seeing out there in just a moment. This looks promising, back on the move perhaps. Already a prominent feature of the savannah off to our right hand side here, this tree that looks like its roots are sticking up in the air. That is a baobab tree, or an upside down tree. They generally remain leafless for about 9 months out of the year. Now that allows the baobab to conserve thousands of gallons of water, which will store in that huge trunk, and many animals like elephants, giraffes will poke holes in that trunk or peel away the bark for a drink in between watering holes, which has also given the baobab the nickname the Tree of Life. Well, like I said, a lot of the animals do influence their environment. You'll notice that a lot of the trees out here, all of their branches or leaves reach about the same length, thanks to the giraffes, of course. So the lowest hanging leaves out here are about the same height as the tallest giraffe hanging out in this part of the savannah. It looks like there is a bit of activity coming up ahead here, a bit of grazing going on, and a few giraffes on the move. We'll see if we can't meet up with them. There they are, off in the distance to our right-hand side. Even from this distance, those giraffes can be hard to miss. They are the tallest land animal in the world, reaching heights of up to 20 feet. A bit closer to us on the right-hand side, rolling around a bit and also grazing, are a few white-bearded wildebeest. Well, unsurprisingly, their name in Afrikaans literally translates to wild beast, though they've also earned themselves the nickname "noo-noo cattle" for the new grunting noise they can make when they eat. Sounds kind of similar to a cow's moo. And these wildebeest out here are well suited to this dry savanna environment. They can go up to 6 days without a drink of water if necessary. Okay, we'll try to get a bit closer to them. We are coming up on a den here to our left-hand side. Dens like this usually belong to predators, so we are going to be nosy, peek inside, see if anyone's home. It looks like there is a bit of speckled fur down to our left-hand side here. And just make out a hyena. And another hyena curled up under the den there too. A couple of them hanging out over here. Hyenas look very dog-like, but they're not members of the canine family. They're members of their own family, the Hyenidae. They have a little bit different body shape than dogs do. It's a tad bit more hunched. And it's a common misconception that hyenas are nocturnal. They're actually crepuscular, so most active around sunset and sunrise, and in between those times you'll usually catch them napping. And a lot of antelope over this way. Now way back, those are sable antelope with that reddish-brown coat of fur. And even closer to us, these tiny antelope are called springbok. Now the springbok get that name from the way they'll spring up to 8 feet in the air and up to 13 feet forward. They're super tiny. Even full-grown like this, they only reach about 2 to 3 feet in height. But despite being so small, they are the second fastest land animal in the world. These springbok can move at speeds of between 50 and 60 miles an hour when they run, which is perfect for escaping a lot of predators that might be after them. We'll make our way a bit closer to those giraffes up ahead there. Also coming up on a few Watusi cattle, named after the Watusi tribe here in Africa who first domesticated them. These cattle with the giant horns. Ooh, and we are in for a treat, my friends, because coming up on our left-hand side, this is one of Africa's largest antelope in these trees here. This is a Patterson's eland, and it looks like this is a male. So he isn't being full grown like this. He'll reach about 6 feet tall at the shoulder and weigh around 2,000 pounds. To put that into perspective, that is about the size of one of these giraffes, a weight of one of these giraffes packed into that antelope right there. Ooh, well, we are in luck, my friends. A couple of giraffes over this way and a baby giraffe just to the left of the tree there. The baby giraffe is pretty small compared to the rest of the herd, but still pretty tall, born at around 6 feet in height. And you'll notice that all of these giraffes out here are pretty busy eating. That is not surprising in the least, because giraffes devote about 16 to 20 hours of their day to eating or searching for food, so you'll almost always catch them grabbing a quick bite. Now you might think that 20 hours a day spent eating wouldn't leave enough time for sleep, but that's definitely not the case for these giraffes out here. They only sleep about 30 minutes a day, and they will break that up into even smaller increments. About 5 minutes here, a minute or two there. Does not take much to keep them well rested at all. Those tiny power naps keep them on the alert, on the ready, in case any predators disturb them. A few more of those Watusi cattle again as we head up this way. You can get a better idea of just how large those horns are. The horns on these Watusi cattle can reach up to 6 feet in length. And they probably look super heavy, but they're mostly hollow, actually fairly lightweight. They're like a sort of built-in cooling system for these cattle, so throughout the day blood will flow up into those horns, disperse some extra heat, and then come back down into the cattle's body a tad bit cooler. Just one way they can combat the heat out here. I'll see if we can slip past these horns real quick. Like I said, those horns are basically a built-in AC unit for these guys. In some African countries, those cattle are even a sign of wealth, with the solid colored cattle worth a little bit more price-wise than the speckled or painted colored cattle are. In case you can't get enough of those giraffes, another one straight ahead of us here. And these are Maasai giraffes that we're seeing out here. We can tell because they have a bit more jagged pattern than other species of giraffes do. Their spots are going to be less rectangular, less smooth edged, and each giraffe will have its own unique markings, very similar to us humans with our own unique fingerprints. But again, always very busy eating. See if you can't catch a glimpse of that long giraffe tongue at work. A giraffe's tongue is about 18 inches in length, so from the tips of our fingers down to our elbow, perfect at grabbing those leaves off the tallest branches. And if you do happen to catch a peek at that tongue, you'll notice it's a bit purplish black in color instead of pink. That prevents it from getting sunburnt since it's out all the time. But again, a lot of giraffes hanging out in this part of the savannah. Together in larger groups, they are known as a tower. Suitable as they tower over everything else out here. But we're going to head a little bit further into the savannah now. We've had some pretty good luck so far, so hopefully that luck will continue this way for us. Fingers crossed. Ooh, it looks like there is a bit of movement off to our left-hand side at the top of these rocks here. These are mandrills on the move up there. Some of Africa's largest monkeys, just like Rafiki and the Lion King. You can see that they're headed down this way along the bushes there. Oh, and there's a baby attached to mom there. The very center of the trees on the rocks. And that is the dominant male at the very top of the hill, just behind them. You can tell he's the largest, usually weighing in around 100 pounds. Has the brightest coloration of red and blue on his face and rear end. Those colors become even brighter when they're emotional, kind of like us humans when we blush. Oh. Mandrills have been known to share similar habitats, similar geographic locations with elephants, so we might be entering elephant country. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled. But the road is close to our right, so I don't think we're gonna try our luck that way. Not to worry, my friends, I know a short detour shouldn't take us too far off track. If I'm not mistaken, it should head over in the direction of the red clay pits. That can be a good place to find a few more species. Some animals will eat that red clay as a nutrient supplement in their diets, kind of like us humans when we take our vitamins. Unfortunately, detour is going to take us over this bridge here, and it looks a little worse for wear. It does not sound the greatest. I forgot to ask, you guys are cool with this, right? Yeah, hearing a lot of support for this idea. Great. Don't worry though. Oh my gosh. So, you guys have really terrible judgment, but you are lucky. I am such a great driver. I'm not saying that I saved us, but... Well, the bridge did technically do its job in getting us across, and we have made our way over to these red clay pits here, so we'll be on the lookout for those animals. This does look promising. A few marks in that clay, a few tracks. We'll see if we can't find the source of those tracks. Things are looking pretty quiet over this way. A few more of those baobab trees, though. You can see again how large those bases can get. Perfect for storing all that water. And speaking of water, we're just going to slip through this watering hole up ahead here. Just on the other side of this watering hole, it looks like we stumbled upon a flock of greater flamingos off in the pool to our left. Greater flamingos like these are the tallest and lightest pink of all flamingo species. And flamingos are actually hatched gray. They get their color over time from their diet of shrimp and other crustaceans. Those crustaceans are filled with a substance called beta-carotene, which will turn those feathers that pink we know and love so much. Can even sometimes tell the youngest in a flock of flamingos, they're going to be more white in color. That's just because it takes them about a year to a year and a half to get that full-on pink tint. Ooh, some very large animals coming up on us.